Start streaming. Hold on. Bring you back over here. I think we are good to go. So live. What's up, everybody? Hey, thanks for joining us for the weekly live stream here on the Everyday Dad TED Live. So thanks for joining in. This is the first time we've been doing this over on TED Live itself. So, hey, I appreciate you joining in. And we will get started here in just a second. My normal way, hold on. My normal way of doing this did not work out because it just didn't work out. What's up, Brad? I see Jacob, Dave. Bike Shop Girl was here earlier. I'm not sure if she is still here. Let me send out the, this is a solo show tonight, The Everyday Wife, or Kelly. Hold on. We got to send out the tweet. If the tweet didn't happen, did the stream ever happen? Okay, hold on. And enter, up. We are live. Hooray. Thanks for joining me, everybody. And why does it do that, though? Oh, why? That drives me absolutely crazy that I changed all the things up, but it still doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So what's up, everybody? Hey, thanks for joining in. Excited to have you here. I actually, I had so much set up. What's up, Jim? I had so much set up to do. I actually, so I'm going to be honest, probably forgot about this. So I am excited that we did not, that we're actually doing this. Okay, live chat. I forgot. I got to remember. I am the only one monitoring the chat today. Again, solo show. Okay, that microphone's off. Solo show. So if you have a question or comment or something, we'll just hang out for a little bit. Because this is much harder to do when you're by yourself, especially when I don't know how long the batteries on everything is going to last. Because, again, I may have, not saying I forgot, I probably forgot. So I hope everybody's having a fantastic week. Yeah, it has been crazy, but crazy in a good way, right? So, the last couple of years have, so, how do I explain this? So, the last few years, my professional life has been kind of blah. So, I've been putting a lot more of my, self-worth, my mental well-being has been involved in, the YouTube stuff. So, it very aligned with the ups and downs of YouTube, which, if you do YouTube for any amount of time, you'll know that there are ups and downs. YouTube always goes up, and it always goes down. And, when your entire, being is wrapped up in that, you just go along with it, and it sucks. So it's been kind of tough with that. But now in the last few months, I started a new job, and it's I don't, all of my emotional self-worth is not in YouTube. Not that I don't enjoy doing it. I still enjoy doing it, or I wouldn't do it. But it's just nice that, not everything has to, YouTube doesn't have to succeed for my own personal well-being. So it's been really, really nice. So that was that we got oddly right off the bat on TED Live. We're on. I don't remember what the names of the things are. No, I wasn't looking for. I was looking for how do you get to turn Serious Talk. We got to Serious Talk here on Ye Oldie Everyday Dad. Ye Oldie Everyday Dad. So yeah, it's been a fantastic time. I'm enjoying it. It's been way nicer not having to oh, this video did bad. I'm personally personally feeling it. So it's been good. Hopefully everybody else out there is having a great time. So I'm sorry, Jacob, I inspire you. Love your kind. Well, thanks so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I do again, I enjoy doing this, or I wouldn't. And this is it's a hobby of mine that I just it's been something I've been doing for over 3 years. Shoot, we still have to do the birthday thing. So hopefully next week. What is next week? Hold on, let's go to the calendar. Let's go to the calendar, because nothing in this world happens without the calendar. Oh shoot, we might not even have a live stream next week. Crap. Well, because I think we're going to New York City next weekend. So if we do have a live stream, it'll be on a cell phone as opposed to the setup down here. dang, we have got to do the 3-year birthday thing. We haven't done it yet this year. Every year, well, I guess 1 year we did it. We did it the second year, and it's a thing that I want to do. So, we've been doing this for 3 years now. What's up, Apple Geek and Chris Cohen? Yeah. So we got to figure out a way. We got to figure out a way to do a birthday thing before it gets too late, because 3 years. I've been doing this for over 3 years now. That feels like when you start doing anything, right? You don't imagine like how it's going to be in the future. And after 3 years of doing this, it's like, oh, it's been 3 years. Holy cow. Sometimes you're like, wow, it just happened. What's up, Daniel? You're like, wow, it's been like 2 minutes since we started doing this. And then sometimes you're like, I've been doing this forever. When I can't even remember what it was like before in the long, long ago. But yeah, if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't do it. And yeah, 3 years. Chris Cohen, 3 years when it started to take off. Well, I've never really had like a viral video, so to speak. It's never really like taken off. I slowly, chip away at it, and over time it just gets a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. We're kind of in a slump now. Like I said, there's always ups and downs at YouTube. You'll always be up, and then you'll always have a slump unless you're one of those rare channels. And even the rare channels that like rocket to the top, even they'll come back down. So it's always there's always an up and there's always a down, and you just have to be prepared for it. So it never really took off. It's just a little bit of growth over time that just keeps building and building and building and building. And so it's been, you just got to get a little bit better each time. You experiment. I kind of feel like like maybe we've hit a rut in content right now. So I'm trying to think of like new and exciting ways to make the videos or talk about something else instead of everything having to be like versus something, or I don't know. We got to think of something. We don't have to. I mean, I still could make those videos from here on out, but you just always want to get a little bit better, try something new. Like we're on a new lens. I bought this lens today. I've been wanting this lens since it was announced and came out. And so today when I went and I bought an A6600, which is currently charging over there, I just said, you know what? I am buying the Sony 35mm 1.8 because 35 millimeters is my favorite focal length. So why not have the Sony Prime lens that does it? So we went out and we got the Sony Prime lens that does it. Yeah. You've been killing it for 3 years. Well, thanks so much, Apple Geek. Yeah, it's just, again, you start off and I had no idea what I wanted to make videos about. I started off making YouTube videos about 3D printers, about motorcycles, then drones, and then cameras. And, I think maybe we'll talk more. I just like gear, so I think I'll always be some kind of a gearhead, just because I like gear. It doesn't matter what my hobbies are. I just like the gear. Like when I was doing triathlons a few years ago, man, I was all about that gear too. So I'll always talk about a hobby set of gear. Like right before we went live here, I'm editing the reviewing the cheapest for tomorrow, which is about my iPhone 11. That I think reviewing the cheapest is going to turn into like a more of an off the cuff. Like it's going to be like an unscripted, I don't want to say it's experimental for me, but it's going to be something where it's like more informal, where I try to do some things that it's going to be like the place where I experiment to bring stuff back to the everyday dad. Because like once you get once YouTube puts you in a box, it's really hard to make content outside of that box. And you always get nervous. You're like, I can't. Excuse me. It's like you don't want to try anything too crazy because what if it crashes? Well, thankfully, and then one of the good things, and this is going to sound crazy, but if you have a rut, I find then I'm willing to like try some experimentation stuff out because like January was not great. January wasn't bad, but January wasn't great. February is kind of turning into a rough month too. So it might be time to try some things out. And I do have some videos that I don't normally talk about, but I do every now and again. So maybe we'll start talking about like on the computer side, the editing side more instead of just strictly cameras. Because I do want to talk about video, and video is not just the camera. I say it in like every video, but then I just talk about the cameras anyway. So we're going to do, so long story, back to reviewing the cheapest that I'm editing right now. It's going to be more informal, more off the cuff, more something that I can reliably create because I was pushing, this time last year we were doing, 4 videos a week if you considered the 3 TED, the reviewing the cheapest, and then the live stream. So we were doing 5 pieces of content a week, and that's not sustainable for me. So we moved back to 2, and now adding in a third one, I only have like a couple of hours to dedicate to that third one. So it's going to be more like informal. We're going to see how we can do informal, unscripted, and make that entertaining. So we're working on that right now. Sorry. We Twitter fam know hard. It must have been resist getting that lens earlier. Man, I've wanted this lens for so long. I really, really like 35 millimeter. And as the name of the stream, I guess we should talk about that. Am I fully switching to Sony cameras? I do think I'm going to fully switch to a Sony ecosystem for cameras. Like the last year, about the last 9-ish months to a year, I've been like all Panasonic. I have had the A7 III, but I've only used it really for thumbnails or in the instance that I need autofocus. Like generally when I'm doing an unboxing and I need it to be the overhead so I can be like, check this out. But I think the Sony A7 III is going to turn into my main camera. The A6600 is going to turn into my B camera or my overhead camera when I need it. And I got to figure out then what I'm going to do with the S1H and the GH5. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with those two. But the reason I want to switch to Sony is I'm sick of so right now I have 3 lens mounts that I'm trying to work with: E mount, L mount, and micro 4/3. And I'm sick of that. Like I want a lens mount that I can invest in and buy the lenses and stop having to I need to use this camera for this because I have that one lens for this. Oh, I need to use this camera for that because I have the one lens for that. It's been 3 years. It's time to grow up. It's time to grow up, everyday dad, and just buy a system and stick to it, he says, and then 2 weeks later he'll change his mind. So at least for this 2 weeks, I think it's going to be the A7 III is the talking head camera with the 35 millimeter lens, and then the A6600 will be the out and about, or overhead. I haven't been doing much out and about. That's something else I want to start doing again. Now that we're kind of settled here in the new house, I do want to start making videos that aren't just right here. That's also getting kind of boring to me. But it's been every time I've had a moment to go out and do video somewhere, it's been raining. It's been a frustrating couple of weeks on the YouTube front. I'll tell you that much. Brad Fogel updating my A66 firmware while listening. Is there a new firmware for the A6600? I'll have to check that out. Chris Cohen, hey Ted, I gotta admit I was almost one of those filmmaker snots, but your attitude kind of tempered my attitude. I forgot people can and should do what they want. Yeah, absolutely. My philosophy is just don't be a jerk. Everybody on this planet has a different opinion. Everybody on this planet has different thoughts and opinions on stuff, and so I try not to push too hard on what I think the right answer is, because what my right answer is isn't your right answer, isn't Paul's right answer, isn't Jim's right answer. So I just try to I love watching movies, so it's not like I dislike filmmakers. I don't even dislike, hold on. I think that looks better. I don't dislike filmmakers. I just dislike jerks that are you can only do it this way. This is the only way to do it. You are wrong if you do it the other way. So one of the reasons I shoot in 30 frames per second is just to be I can. You can't stop me. Is it childish? Yeah, it is childish, but sometimes you're look, I've been doing this for 3 years. I have a modicum of success. I guess maybe you can do 30 frames per second and succeed. So, it's life. It's life. One of my big things, and this isn't just YouTube, I consider, what's the word I'm looking for? Considerateness. Being considerate is one of the most important things. Everybody's doing their own thing. You just got, and I'm also not, because it also drives me crazy on the flip side where it's man, everything's cool, man. Nothing matters. Just chill. Everybody's doing I also don't, I'm in the middle. I am very moderate about just about everything. I drink diet ginger ale. I drive like a beat up truck. I'm just boring, and I'm like right along the middle. So, just do what you do. Random things. I first saw you making CRF 250L videos. I never had a CRF 250L. I had a CB 300F. I really wanted is it the CRF, the CR250F, the Honda Dual Sport? I've been considering buying one of those. I still have the Yamaha FZ07, but I think I'm going to sell that this spring and get a Grom. I think I'm going to get a Grom just to commute to and from work because it gets like 100 miles a gallon. The insurance is great, and it's just I don't need to drive over 55 miles an hour to get to work where I'm at now. So I don't think my wife's watching this. She would have yelled at me by now. She would have yelled at me by now if she heard me talking about this. I think she's out having fun with friends tonight. But yeah, I do very much. I'd get a dual. Here's the problem with getting a dual sport, though. If you guys know about motorcycles, like dual sports, like a combination between a motorcycle you ride on the road and a motorcycle you ride off, like in dirt. And it's like you combine the two together. But the problem with those kind of bikes is you have to be tall. Like they have very tall seat heights to make sure that you got enough clearance to use them properly. I'm short. Like, I don't know. I assume you guys can tell from like the YouTube videos, but I'm like 5'6". So I don't have like a very tall inseam. So it is hard for me to ride on one of those basically it's impossible for me to ride on one of those motorcycles without like totally like dropping the suspension. And then what's the point of having a dual sport? So maybe I'll get a cruiser. Yeah. Nick Pixel TV. What up, bro? Hope you're well. Well, thanks so much. I am well. I hope you're doing well. Get a Yamaha TW200. I was thinking about the, what's the Yamaha? It's not the WR. It's the XT. Is that the one you're talking about? The TW? It's the XT something. I thought about that one because I did try that one at a dealership, and it was pretty good. Maybe I will try that one. I don't know. Do I need a new motor? I probably need a new motorcycle. I probably need one. What's up, Bike Shop Girl? Tall boots. So there's only so much tall boots can do. Like, I don't want to wear like boots that are like that, right? So it's funny. It's funny. Photo Gear Fun. Hey, what's up? I need to get a new bicycle. That's one. Maybe I'll sell some of this camera gear so I can get a new bike this year. Because I have a road bike, but it's old. I have a mountain bike, but it's not old, but it's beaten up. I haven't taken care of it like I should have, and it's a steel frame, Surly Karate Monkey. The gears are bad. It definitely needs tuned up at least. But I'd like to as I get older, maybe I need a full frame. Full frame. I'm so used to talking about cameras. A full suspension mountain bike, so that my back doesn't hurt as much anymore. Need motorcycles to test action cameras. That's what I used to do. That's how I used to test them out, and maybe I need to do that some more. Maybe that's what we need to. We got to get the FZ07 out of the FZ07 out of the garage. But it's like buried because we just moved in here, like a month ago? And the garage is still just like full of a bunch of junk. Specialized makes some great mountain bikes. I had a Specialized, my first road bike was Specialized, the Specialized LA. It was neon green. I loved it. I did my first couple of triathlons on that bike. I loved that bike. I rode that. That was when I lived in Arizona. Man, I rode that bike all over the place. I don't really like Specialized mountain bikes as much. I like giant mountain bikes. They're not like, if you don't know bikes, it's not like a huge, like a physically large bike. The brand name is called Giant. I like giant mountain bikes. I like, I guess I wouldn't say no to Specialized, but you always start, like, you love what you grow up with, right? And my first mountain bike was a giant, it was red. A giant Talon? And then I had a giant Anthem, which was full suspension, but I bought it on sale, so it was a little too big. So I ended up selling that. And then I had I got really big into triathlon, so I bought the giant time trial bike. What was it? The giant? Oh, I can't remember, but it was like a knife. It just like cut through. I was so fast on that bike, but it sucked to like, you gotta ride it like this. you know, for hours in the saddle, and you just get sick of it. You just get sick of it. Nick Pixel TV, am I waiting for the new Canon EOS Rs? I mean, I'll try them out, but I don't think I'm going to personally buy one. They, so I like what Canon is doing. All of that rumors on those new EOS Rs, like that's going to be an expensive camera. Like, I guess I don't know what the specs are going to be, but from what the specs were, it was like, what, 5.9K, like 8K, stuff like that. Like, I don't know how you go from having a crop in 4K with the Digic 8, right? The EOS R had the Digic 8. You have the crop on the 4K with that to like leapfrogging to the best mirrorless camera on the market for video, period. In the same kind of body, at the same price. Like, where does the heat go? Like, I'm very skeptical of all of those things. And if it does happen that way, I think it's going to be a very, very expensive camera. Again, I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I'm very skeptical that they're going to be able to fit like the next revolution of mirrorless cameras in an EOS R body for like $3,000. I would love to be proven wrong. But I'm waiting for them, but we'll find out. I need the cameras to come out so we can, get out of the dry spell of like no cameras coming out. Bike Shop Girl full suspension electric bike. I have been looking at those. Thanks for coming out, Chris. Thanks for coming out, Jim. The camera AF doesn't know what to do with your talking hands. Is it? I haven't used autofocus in such a long time. I'm trying to. We're coming back on it. I'm so used to not using autofocus to going back to using autofocus. I gotta be careful. I do talk with my hands a lot. How much? Where will it screw up? Oh, there it took the hands. It should be doing face tracking, right? It should be in face tracking. So why should it shouldn't be focusing on the hands? But it's a live stream. We'll figure it out. Paul, thoughts on the new Fuji XT4 rumors? I don't know. I mean, again, that I believe the XT4 rumors more than I believe the EOS R rumors, because Fuji, like the XT3, was such a big improvement. I bet the XT4 is going to be great. I'll try one out. The thing is, like, once you get burned by a camera company once, it's hard. It's hard to just like trust them again. So like Panasonic, for example, like their autofocus is not great. And no matter how often, it doesn't matter how often they do a firmware update on it. Like I've had videos fail and had to redo them because I trusted the autofocus on a Panasonic camera and it didn't work. Or it was like doing that wobble that just is awful. So I can't trust a Panasonic camera for autofocus. It will take a lot for them to win me back. Even if like the autofocus on the S1H looks like it's perfectly fine. Like I haven't actually had any problems with it, but I don't trust it. I won't use it. Maybe that turned out too dark. But I don't trust it. I won't use it. Just like the XT3. So the XT3, the autofocus, I had legitimate problems with it. After like when it first came out with that kit lens, I didn't have autofocus problems when I did like the videos, but then I was like, okay, maybe I'll switch to Fuji. I did buy an XT3. I bought a bunch of lenses for it. I bought the prime lenses. I was like, okay, we'll take this seriously now. We'll get the prime lenses that I want. We'll get everything set up. And then I had nothing but autofocus problems with the XT3. So I sold it, and nope. After all of that, it was just like, I can't. Like, Fuji's great. Like, the reason I can I love Panasonic as much as I do is even though their autofocus is not great, there are ways to work around the autofocus. Like, the app support. I don't like the full frame app as much as I like the GH5 app, but it works fine for what I want. But the XT3 app is garbage. The Fuji app is terrible. And without the flip screen and not trusting the autofocus, like what can you do with it? What can you do with it? So I don't use it. Will I buy one? We'll have to, I mean, anything's possible. It could totally blow me out of the water and then I'll buy it. But the reason I think I will stick basically primarily to Sony cameras now, maybe Panasonic will win me back over, but the K3M, the audio is just the most important. Audio is so much more important than image quality. Like I just say in the reviewing the cheapest video that I'm editing right now that like the iPhone 11 has good enough image quality for YouTube. I mean, it does. It has good enough image quality for YouTube. He says as he drops his phone. So it like that has good enough image quality for YouTube. So audio is so much more important. And the K3M, the K3M and the DMW XLR1, these matter to me. Like being able to just easily get clean XLR audio. Oh, and it took my focus. But being able to get good audio into these cameras is the most important thing for me. I don't want to use, like I have a Zoom H6, I have a Zoom H1. These are like emergencies. These are for emergencies only for me. Like I don't want to use these. Like I use this as my primary audio device when I was using the Z6, when I was using the EOSR. There was like 5 months where this was what my audio came through. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't like having to put the batteries in here, mess with the levels. Okay, is it good? Is it on? Blah, 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 blah. I don't like that. I like plugging it in the hot shoe, having it working. So Fuji doesn't have that. Canon doesn't have that. Nikon doesn't have that. Panasonic and Sony have that. So that's kind of like what I'm going to stick with, I guess. Brad Fogel, okay, yeah, there's no firmware update. I just assumed thered be an update. Okay, good. Whew. Paul, yeah, I hope they do. I hope someday Panasonic, like, here's what I think happened. I think Panasonic, because all of this stuff, right, has long lead times. Like, it's not we need to make a camera. 6 months later, there's a camera. That's not how product development works. It's kind of like my wheelhouse, right? I do product development. And so there are long lead times. So here's what I assume happened. Let's talk the S1 and the S1H. I think they probably started development, like 2.5 years ago. Panasonic probably said, you know what, Micro Four Thirds is great, but we need to diversify. The camera market is crashing. We need to get some market share elsewhere. So let's go full frame. Like 2-3 years ago, what was the best autofocus? Like Canon's dual pixel autofocus. That was the 70D. The 70D was 2 or 3 years ago. And they're like, okay, it's like one camera. Nobody really cares about autofocus. And like legitimate video makers will use manual focus. So they did their development. But in that time, Sony and Canon were continuing to like up the ante with theirs. And so did Nikon decided to come out with it. Fuji decided to do phase detection. So I think Panasonic just made the wrong bet. I think they made the wrong bet, just assuming that people weren't going to want it. And then autofocus has blown up. It's in professional cameras now. It's in the C500 Mark II. It's in the FX9. It's just going to continue to proliferate because it is important to have good autofocus. I mean, it means you need less crew. You need less people. You can get shots you can get shots more reliably. Is it perfect? Will you use it for every occasion? Absolutely not. But I think Panasonic made a bad technical decision, and I'm hoping that they've seen the explosion of autofocus in the last couple of years and will realize that right now they're losing camera sales because they don't have it. Maybe you could use the excuse like today, 2020, the pros of the pros still don't use autofocus, so you can get away with it. I don't think you can get away with it much longer. I don't think you can. Hopefully, I would love an EVA 1 with an L mount and a good autofocus. I would buy that, and I would go back to Panasonic for that. Tech Turner Live, Gary, thanks, man. I bought the Sony a6100. Awesome. I hope you really like it. I hope it works out for you. Random things. I'm still using a Canon 70D. Won't upgrade until these large sensor cameras have hyper smooth like stability. The S1H is pretty good. It's pretty darn good. Luke and Dad Vids, I'm here. I love your videos. Well, thanks so much. Paul, after using both, what's the difference between the K2M and K3M? I've never used the K2M. I think the big differences between the two are the K2M. Is the K2M the one that just hooks into the hot shoe? Because the K3M comes with a cable so you can hook it into the hot shoe or you can offset it if you want to set the actual device somewhere else. But I've never used the K2M. Brad Fogel needs to get a Bluetooth remote and set C1 to manual AF focus. Remote has C1 buttons, allows for holding focus, then focus remotely. The allows for holding focus remotely, then AF when wanted. Yeah, but I don't want to mess around with stuff like that. I just want it to work. And I agree. That's not me saying your workaround's bad. Your workaround works, but I don't want to. If I'm spending this kind of money on a camera, I don't want to have a workaround. I don't want to have a workaround. Photogear Fun DFD is great for single shot focus. My G9 is great. And yeah, it is perfectly good. And it's probably, I really like the DFD for stills, except I never use it for stills. Like, ever since starting using the A7 III for stills, I don't know that I could go to another camera. Like, I think Sony has me when it comes to stills, because you can push and you can pull the Sony stills like just crazy amounts. When I have to take thumbnails of the A7 III so I can't use my A7 III, I'm sad. Because it's so good. It's really good. And I don't normally get into the whole like photography stills thing, but the A7 III is just, it's amazing. It's amazing. I can't wait for the A7 IV, because I don't know that the S1 or the A7 S3, that may never happen. And it's probably, the A7 S3 is probably not going to be that impressive when it does eventually come out. It would have been impressive like 2 years ago, but I bet Sony came into like some kind of technical limitation where they're trying to do 4K 60 full frame 10-bit, and they can't do it on that little body right there. So they were maybe they like designed themselves into a corner where they have an A7 III body or even the A7S body, and they were trying to put full frame 4K 60 10-bit in there, and they just couldn't. What I would like the A7 IV or the A7S whatever to basically be like the A7 III with a flip up screen and that S Cinetone that's in the FX9. I would buy the crap out of a camera like that. I would buy 2 of those cameras. I'm really, like, one of the reasons I'm switching to, like, I'm switching to Sony is I want to upgrade to a cinema camera at some point. And the only cinema cameras, the only lenses I really like the lenses that I would love, the lenses that I want to invest in and own personally are E-mount lenses. The 35mm 1.8, the 24mm 1.4, the Tamron 17-28, which is, it's on the A6600 over there. The Sigma 24-70, all of the good lenses that I want are on E-mount. I don't like RF, okay, but the Canon cinema cameras right now are not coming out with RF. John Teal, I would love a flip around screen, but I assume Sony's like invested in their flip up screen. I would, either way, if I can get a Sony full frame camera with some kind of flip screen, I will be okay with it. Unless it's like flip down. Don't do flip down. But yeah, I think the next purchase I'm going to make is going to be the FX9 or the FX6, I think they're going to call it. I don't know. That's whatever their new rumored, like the FS5 replacement. Because I've been watching like every single video on the FX9. It looks, oh my goodness, the footage out of the FX9 looks so good. That S Cinetone just looks beautiful. I almost bought one the other day. It's getting tough, so the reason I'm going to start buying lenses to have around for that. So the FX9 would be the main camera, the A7 III would be the B camera, and the A6600 would be the C camera. Too many cameras. Brad Fogel, what if Sony went nuts and came out with the S1H type cam? See, the reason, I don't know, like Panasonic seems nuts to me because they're always like, hey, we got these like the EVA 1. Let's make a camera that's better than the EVA 1 for less money. Not a lot of companies are going to do that. Especially when it comes to like, the only camera company that's really profitable right now is Sony. Like, even though the market's like crashing and the like Canon's suffering in sales, Nikon's suffering in sales, I haven't seen the Panasonic report, but I've seen a lot of the the sales reports just came out not too long ago. And Sony, I think they had they had a negative in the camera sales, but it wasn't that much. And Sony is like just taking huge chunks of market share. So yeah, I really want that FX9. Paul, yeah, it's been in my cart a few times. I really want one real bad. Yeah, the color science looks great. If I could get The color science of the FX9 in an A7 body. And built-in NDs, if I could get built-in NDs. Photo gear fun. Sony is great for stills too, but I went for light and easy to handle for my bird shots with the G9 and the 100 to 400. Oh yeah. No, I'm not judging. I still love Panasonic cameras. I'm looking at 2 right now. I'm not a good photographer, so I like Sony cameras because you can basically take a terrible photo and then just mold it into whatever you want, because it's like what I've done plus minus like 5 stops in raw photo, and for like YouTube thumbnails, it's fine. Like for people that are actual photographers, I mean, that's personal preference for whatever you want. And I've seen Photo Gear Fun's photos, and they're like, he has some just amazing bird shots, and bird shots are hard to get. But I'm a terrible photographer, so I like being able to do all that stuff. Paul Feinberg, that would be amazing. A huge plus if they built in ND like the old RX 105. Yeah, I would like built-in ND, but I'd rather have the flip screen than the built-in ND. I'd rather have both. I'm just gonna buy the FX9 at some point. Doc Murdoch, what do I think about the Lumix G7 for budget YouTube? Oh yeah, the Lumix G7 is. I think what I'm gonna do, because it's about that time to start revisiting like older cameras. I think I'm gonna do the 80D, the G7, the Sony A6000, and the what was the other one? The Canon T77 or the T7i. I think those are going to be the next 4 cameras we check out. But yes, the G7's fantastic. The G7's what I started out with, and as long as you don't mind using the app or you don't mind using like the touch to autofocus, you'll be fine. It's got great 4K. There's a crop on the 4K, like more than. So Micro Four Thirds is a 2 times crop, and the G7 has what, an additional 2 or 3 times. It's 0.2 or 0.3 times crop on top of that. But if you're doing 1080p, it looks great. Yeah, I like the G7 an awful lot. Do a video on the Canon T7. The Canon T7, though, I did a video on the T6, and the T7 is basically the T6. It doesn't really have the flip screen or anything like that, so it's kind of hard to like make a video on that stuff, because it just kind of like throws a lot of obstacles in your way, and then it makes it hard to make a video about it. So one of the things is I have to like pick gear that helps me in the video process, because like I have a full-time job, and it's just hard to like, it's hard to balance both. It's hard to balance both. So I pick cameras and stuff to check out that kind of balances that, except the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K that just doesn't help you at all. The Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K is like, hey, you're using me, right? Figure it out. I'm not helping you. Help yourself out. You want Blackmagic RAW? Figure it out. It sucked. The camera didn't suck. The camera was amazing. It sucked trying to manage it as somebody that doesn't use those kind of cameras very often. Hold on, I am checking out. Yep. Okay. Brad Fogel, so you're geeking out over the Sony FS. I'm over here researching who to drop $1,000 or more for V-mount batteries for my C300 II. Oh, I looked at the C300, the C300 II. I've looked at the C500. I've looked at all the cameras, and the benefit I have is I do have revenue from this. That's basically all profit, right? None of the YouTube money you pays bills or anything. I guess it's paid off my truck. It's paid off the debt, but like I don't pay rent with this. I don't pay bills with this. So it's like every dime I make from the YouTube channel gets immediately invested back into the YouTube channel in either gear, cameras, all of this stuff. Like I take all of the money from YouTube and just invest it back in the channel in some way, shape, or form. So the benefit I have is I can afford the camera. It's just like, what one do I? Oh, the aperture. You got me all excited. See, they got to start differentiating between what is going on with this chair? These stupid green chairs. I definitely thought you meant Canon C300. But one of the benefits is, like, I can afford this stuff. It's just there's no camera at any price point that exactly works for what I want. Like the FX9, I would love to go buy it, but I don't really like XQD cards all that much. And I don't like the thought of like how big it is. Like I think I would like the FS5 if it had the good autofocus. So that's why I'm kind of waiting to see what the FX6 or whatever the new Sony thing is. Like I kind of think that Sony's kind of put themselves that they've put themselves in a box here, and maybe the A7S is never going to happen. Maybe it's just never going to happen, and it's going to turn into like the FX6. Burn the chairs. I agree. Nobody even likes these things. The comps, Brian Compton. Hi, thanks for all your informative videos. Well, thanks so much. I really appreciate it, Brian. So yeah, that's where my head's at. I think Sony's gonna do it for the recent times for the next week and a half. Like that's like I'd never started this to be the crazy camera guy, but I've kind of turned into the crazy camera guy. Like I'm very indecisive, like impulsive and just like ready to move on to the next new thing. In basically every facet of my life. It's not just cameras. It's just that I have a larger like social presence in cameras. Like I used to buy and sell bicycles. I bought 2 motorcycles and sold one of them, and like I'm always like buying and selling stuff. So this is just like the way that everybody sees it. But it's been pretty fun. It's been pretty fun. But I think we're gonna do Sony for right now. But yeah, the C300 Mark II, the Aperture C300 Mark II. I almost bought one of those. But I think now that I'm using a prime lens, and it's open to 1.8, so I don't need as much light as I was needing with the 16 to 35 Lumix lens that was f4. So we'll see. I was going to get one just to do a bunch of bounce light stuff off, and then I decided against it. Because, like, man, those things are so bright and powerful, and I could bounce everything off of everything. I'm still probably going to get one. Paul, I buy and sell stuff only for profit. Yeah, I mean, I don't lose money very often when I buy and sell this camera gear because I buy most of my camera gear used. Like, the S1H is used. The GH5 is used. The A6600 is not used. The A7 III is not used. The 17 to 28 was used. Like, most of my gear is used, so I don't generally lose money on it. Sometimes I will. Like, if I do end up selling the S1H in the lens, that 16 to 35 is brand new, so I'll have to take a hit on that. I will have to take a hit on that, but meh. I consider it a rental fee. Meh. Hold on. Dr. Murdoch, do you think any camera companies are considering making a dedicated YouTube/live stream camera anytime soon? Nobody's going to make a dedicated YouTube camera. A dedicated live stream camera, I think, would be the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. Like, that's almost a perfect live streaming camera. It's got full HDMI. It's got XLR. It's got power. Like, you can plug it into the wall straight from the box. Like, that. I'm the only, like, nobody has left a comment saying that they've had the same issues that I've had when trying to stream with it. So I assume it's a combination of like, I have some kind of weird technical problem that's happening that hasn't happened to anybody else. So I think that's probably the perfect streaming camera right there. Brad Vogel, these are existential questions, especially for aspiring pro shooters. The big cams are rental units based on what sensor and lenses fit the look the DP and the director want. Photo gear fun. I love to benefit from your fire sales. Most people do. That's one of the fun things, right? I rent them. I make the money off of them from the YouTube. Why can't somebody else benefit from them? I think it's a win-win situation. And if I have a reputation as being a crazy camera guy, it's fun. There are worse reputations to have. Way worse. Brad Fogel, most folks have one system for personal use, often Canon C Series 200. I don't like the C200. I'm just going to say it. I know, like, that is a controversial statement, because everybody seems to love the C200. I've had it twice now, and I just do not like it. I don't like the 8-bit files. I don't like that you have to shoot RAW and anything other than that. The autofocus is great, but I don't like the handle setup. I don't like how the monitor works. Ugh. I just don't like it. I don't know what it is about it. I know it's like the darling of YouTube. You can't talk bad about the C200, but I've tried twice. I have tried twice to get the C200 to work, and it just doesn't do it for me. And I don't know if it's a me thing. Like, maybe it's a me thing. Maybe Gary and Canon just don't get along. But I just blah blah blah. Like, I like the EOS R. I like the 1080p 200 megabits per second all I codec in the EOS R. That's easy. That's so easy to grade. Looks gorgeous. I just don't like the C200. I really don't. Cat Army, hello. Well, hey, thanks for joining us, Cat Army. Paul Feinberg, you have to have Gary on notifications on Twitter because you never know when there will be a fire sale. You never know. We could do one right now. You don't even know. It's always just a surprise. It's a surprise. I try to keep everybody on their toes. I don't actually have anything to sell right now, unless it's the S1H. I'm not sure, though. I love, like, the reason I don't want to get rid of the S1H, even if I'm going to be on Sony, is the image quality is beautiful. The image quality in the S1H is the best I've ever seen on any camera I've used, and I've used so many cameras, but the S1H has the best colors I've ever seen. Like, Vlog, the full Vlog from Vericam with the Vlog LUTs, I've never seen anything like it. It looks so good. It looks so good. The dynamic range is just, it's like 14 and up stops. Like, it's unreal. It is unreal good. Like, I love the S1H, but it doesn't have an E-mount, and the autofocus, like, I don't want to invest in a camera that doesn't have good autofocus anymore. Maybe. I don't know. It's so good. The image quality on the S1H is just bonkers. Bonkers. All right. Doc Murdoch, the BMCC only needs an external monitor of some type from what I've seen. Yeah, you will need some kind of a monitor or like a mirror, I guess. People use mirrors now to like see the back of the screen. But yeah, you'll need a monitor, and you can always find them for like $100 on Amazon. Like I had one of those Andy scenes. Do I still have it? I don't think I have it anymore. I used to have it. Now I use the Adamus Shinobi. I don't know if I have the Andy scene. I got rid of a lot of stuff. Like when we moved here, I just started throwing stuff away. It's just like, you don't want to be buried in all this stuff. Brad Fogel, what were my issues? It was just, for some reason, when I would try to do this like live stream through OBS, when I would try to record, the stream would look fine, but when I would record OBS, it would look terrible. I mean, it would look like worse than log footage, the recording. I tried every setting inside of the camera. I tried ProRes, I tried RAW, I tried different frame rates, I tried different resolutions. I tried in the film, the video extended. I tried all the white balances, all the picture profiles. I loaded LUTs into the camera. I even created a LUT onto the OBS and had an OBS run a LUT while doing film. It didn't matter. Like, it just looked awful. Like, so bad. Like, again, I'm not an image quality guy, but this was so bad, I would not have wanted it to be uploaded onto one of my channels and say, like, hey, this is something that I believe in. It was terrible. It was, so bad. So bad. Cat Army, how do I like the GoPro Hero 8? I like it a lot. I think this week we're going to do a follow-up video to the GoPro Hero 8, because the GoPro Hero 8 is like an action camera that doesn't look like an action camera. The image quality, again, the image quality is bonkers. Like, it's the best action camera image quality I've ever seen. But the screen, the replaceable screen, or the non-removable lens cover really irks me. And now they're like, oh, there's a roll cage that you can put on to protect the screen. It's like, oh, you mean like when you used to have GoPros and then you had to put a screen on, like you had to put them in a case to make them waterproof and, protect the screen. So, we're doing that again. The only difference is back in the day with the GoPro Hero 4, that cage came with the camera. You didn't have to spend another $20, $30 to buy, or what's 40? You didn't have to buy another cage to protect the replaceable lens cover. So why don't we just put the replaceable lens cover back on? That's the thing that irritated me. Paul Feinberg, did you see the rumor about the 12 to 25 2.8 Sony GM? Yeah, I saw that it's going to happen. That lens is probably going to be gigantic. Like the 12 to 24 Sigma is like huge. And it is going to be expensive. Brad Fogel, do you have a Ninja 5 to record the file with? And I did try to pass through with, I tried passing through with the Ninja 5. It didn't matter. The image still looked bad. I tried passing through the A10 Mini. Didn't matter. I don't know what it was, but it just, and I think it might be probably because I do OBS on Mac, and OBS and Macs do not get along in any way, shape, or form. In any way, shape, or form. Cat Army, how about Hero 8 versus Hero 5? The Hero 8. Don't get the Hero 5. I did not like the Hero 5 and the Hero 6 at all. Like the Hero 5 and the Hero 6 were not reliable cameras in my opinion. I had lots of like glitches. I had lots of glitch issues with the 5 and the 6. They weren't like stable in that new design until the 7. And if you're going to do like, if you need a more action camera, like you're going to be doing a lot of mountain biking or skiing, I'd probably still go with the 7 because it's got that replaceable lens cover. But if you're just looking for like a vlogging type camera and you need better audio and image quality, I'd go with the 8. The image quality and the audio on the 8 is just, it's real good. Brad Fogel, Insta361R looks to be giving GoPro a run for their money. We'll see. I mean, they actually reached out to me. They've been reaching out to me for weeks. Like they wanted to send that to me under NDA a few months ago, but I don't know. I've kind of backed off of like letting companies send stuff to me because I don't know. It's not that I don't like it. You know, it's great. Hey, send me something to check out. But I always feel like I get it, and then I always feel this like obligation to make content about it. Not that I feel the obligation to say something positive or negative, but sometimes I get something I'm like, I don't want to make a video about this. I mean, thanks for sending it to me, but so I've kind of backed off of like brands sending me. I get emails all the time, and I'm like, meh. So they did reach out to me. I am very interested in that. I did respond actually last night, and I was like, sure, if you guys want to send me one, send it to me. We'll see. So we'll see. Maybe I'll check one of those out here pretty soon. I am very interested in the 1-inch version of that. And I see people like, I have a strict don't watch content about stuff that I will make content about policy. So I see other people's videos on it. It's like, I want to watch so bad. I want to watch so bad. I want to watch so bad. But I won't, because you never know, like if you watch somebody else's stuff too much, like I feel like even if you're not trying to copy them, you just pick up like their mannerisms or you pick up their opinion on stuff. So I don't watch. I just won't watch until I'll make my own videos. Then I'll watch, which kind of sucks because like my favorite videos on the planet that I used to watch were iPhondo's videos because he is probably one of my favorite. Like meeting him, I met him last year and it was awesome. But I can't watch his videos now because a lot of stuff that he talks about, I'll talk about. So I got to wait until I make the videos so I can have like, I know that it's my opinion. It's not one that I subconsciously picked up somewhere. So I'm long story long. I am excited to check out the Insta361R, the 1-inch one. Because I do think I like the Insta3. They sent me the Insta361. They sent me the Insta361X. They offered to send me that Go, that little one, and I said no. And I did like the 1X. The 1X is probably the 360 camera. If I were to buy a 360 camera, it would be that one. Because like even the GoPro Max, I like a lot about the GoPro Max, but I don't know. I don't like GoPro's software. And that's where 360 cameras live or die, is in their software. Like they don't have the, like Insta360 software has like the face tracking. So if you're like, oh, I'm doing this thing, but I want like my face to be in the frame, you can track the face as it's rendering with the Insta361 software, whereas you can't do that with the GoPro. So I would buy the Insta361. Photo gear fun. I know what you mean, Gary. Even with my smaller channel, I get request sense of obligation. Yeah, it's like you get the stuff and it's like great. But I just don't want to make it like I make videos to make videos that I want to make. And sometimes they'll send you gear and it just like, it's like, okay, here's your slot. I slotted you this to happen. And then maybe it's not even their fault. Maybe there's just a shipping delay or there's some kind of like delay that causes it to miss its slot, and then I've got to scramble to fill that slot that I thought was going to be about a certain this thing, and then now where am I going to fit it? Because even now, like I have my videos planned out for like the next month. I always have a month like ahead of me. So it's like, well, I'm not going to bump these other videos that I want to make for your thing. And then, so anymore now, it's like, hey, I have big asterisk. It's like, you want to send me something, that's fine. I do not guarantee you're going to get a video out of it. So if that's big for you, I will not, you may not get a video out of it. And if that's a problem, just send me a return label and I'll ship it back to you. Like, that's too easy. Too easy. Brad Fogel, I'd give Insta some time to do firmware updates to try it out. Have seen some external audio issues brought up by other 1-inch sensor FOV is tighter than GoPro. Ooh. Well, don't spoil it for me. Again, I try to find out, like, as I'm using it. I don't want to, I try not to know too much going into him. iPhone was such a nice guy. I met him at Camera Camp. Yeah, I met him at, I saw him at CES, but he was talking to somebody, so I didn't bother him. And then I saw him at Condo. That's where I met him, was at Sony Condo this year. I regret missing Camera Camp. Like, I was supposed to go to Camera Camp, and it was like the day before I went, my son got sick. So I was like, oh, I can't go. He's sick, which sucks. I think I was going to stay with Gerald and then Josh from Make Art Now. They were going to be my roommates. So I missed. Dang. Hopefully it's not like, sorry, Sony, I couldn't go. Please invite me again, though. Those are fun. Like, Sony can put on an event. Like, when they flew me out for Condo. Condo was a blast. Even though Condo's, like, their photography experience and Camera Camp is now, like, their video experience. I had so much fun at Condo. Even though everybody was, like, taking it real serious, taking lots of photos. I was just, like, hanging out. That was so much fun. That was a lot of fun. And then... for the Sony experience, when the A6600 and the A6100, that was fun, but that was different because that was like business time. Because like there was a whole bunch of journalists there, like all the content creators were like there trying to crank out the content for it, and I was just like, I'm having fun again. I'm in New York City. I have to walk everywhere because I don't understand how public transportation works because I'm from a town of like 1,000 people, so. Sony canceled all of their Sony B Alpha events for this year. Oh, yeah? That sucks. Cameras are not, like, the camera ecosystem is not doing well. That doesn't surprise me. Unfortunately, I mean, it sucks. But I assume it's just because, like, the camera marketplace is currently just taking a crap. One of the reasons I'm trying to diversify with reviewing the cheapest that's not about cameras, because it's kind of like putting all your eggs in one basket when nobody's buying cameras. It's kind of hard to, like, that's one of the things, right? So we're at about an hour. I do hours for live streams. I'll answer this and then we'll probably call it for the night. But like, one of the frustrating parts is, like, if you look across the tech space, because cameras are tech, so I'm technically a tech channel. The niche is cameras. The sub niche is, like video cameras. But I see people, they make like Apple videos and they get hundreds of thousands of views. And there's nothing wrong with it, but it clearly their production value is not necessarily, seems to be as intensive as some of the filmmaker / camera creators. But like, cameras just, nobody buys cameras anymore. Like, they went from selling like 20 million cameras a year to like 3. So the Everyday Dad will probably stick with that, but I am diversifying with reviewing the cheapest, where we'll be talking about tech in a more general sense. Like, we talked about the iPad, we'll talk about the iPhone, I think we'll talk about the Apple Watch after that. And then we'll talk about some Samsung stuff, just the cheapest, the cheapest tech, because that's fun. That's also fun to do. And again, it's more experimental, but we'll see. But yeah, thanks for joining me, everybody. Hopefully we may not do this next week because I think we will be in New York City. So everybody have a great rest of your weekend. Have a fantastic weekend next weekend. And I will catch you guys at some point. Hopefully it won't be that long. So yeah, have a great rest of your day.